Okay, so this is going to have to be kind of short because I'm at like 18% on my phone. I had started a video, well, I did a video on June 2nd, and it's now June 7th, and I have not got that posted. I'm kind of at the point where I'll probably be more inclined to delete it since it's been that many days already. But I don't know. The reason it didn't get posted, because I was trying, was it seemed like my computer, like the memory was too full or something. So I started deleting a bunch of stuff off, hoping that that would get around or help me clear up enough that I would be able to add it. But then when I went back into it, my phone failed to import like several times in a row, and I got tired of messing with it, so I just quit on it. But it wasn't really anything much. Like, I was just talking about considering changing my schedule around and doing things differently, to try to get a better writing habit going in the morning. And I have this week been able to start that. I have started getting up early in the morning. Monday was 3:30 because that's when Gidget decided it was time to wake me up. Usually I'm pushing for more like 4:30 because that's a little bit easier on my sleep schedule, so I can sleep. That day at work, the night before that one, I did not go to bed super early, so it's like 3 hours of sleep or something. But it was productive, and I started writing, and it went well. And partly it was something that I had already started, but I was tweaking it and putting it on the computer and coming up with it for my blog, which I have not gotten back to that, unfortunately. So I don't know what's going on there. I have to work on it. I'm not sure if this vlog thing is kind of maybe pushing on the way out again, or maybe due for a pause. Probably won't delete all the videos like I did the last time, mainly because I didn't save them on my computer. When I was trying to free up space, I ended up deleting all the videos to see if that would help, and it didn't, so it just wasn't working. But yeah, I kind of, when I do one, I'd rather put it up right away so it's like associated with the time or the date it actually is, or close to. So now that I'm 5 days off, it's like, yeah, it's still technically kind of close, but I really don't know that I care that much. And it was more just a wishy-washy thing and arguing with myself. So I don't know. But yeah, I've been making a habit of getting up early all week, and this week's been kind of a little different because Gracie's been out of school, so I've gone over to her house 3 of these days to hang out with her while her dad takes her mom to work. But I have been spending a couple hours writing even over there, because there I just sit at the table, she's still asleep, so I'll do my thing and let her sleep. And it's been pretty good, and I've been making a lot of connections. And yesterday my brother and I were talking quite a bit about stuff, and I was finally filling him in on a lot of the weird stuff that's been going on. But it's still kind of, you gotta pick and choose, I guess, what I talk about, because I know there is a tendency for people to want to think I'm nuts and want to think that I'm trying to make something out of nothing. I mean, shit, isn't that part of what creativity is anyway? Yeah, essentially. But anyway, like, kind of losing steam on the YouTube at the moment, and I think the big thing was I needed it for this time to work through some of the things that I was going through, especially to get like the ex-husband stuff and all that crap out of my system. And I feel like that has been helped immensely by this process. And also learning, I still have work on balancing out the aggravations with religion, but I feel like I am finding more of a middle ground with not being as completely angry at the entire area of religion, and I don't know, just being able to know more what's mine and what I'm Tazzy, quit. What I'm trying to navigate through. I mean, there's still there's always stuff to be worked through, right? I keep feeling like June 18th or 19th are supposed to be important dates, because they keep seeming to come up. Particularly those numbers seem to keep coming up. So I don't know if they mean something in particular, but I guess we'll see. It's the 7th now, so we have some time. Not a great deal of time, but some time. Kind of figured I would just come on here and do a short video to kind of say I'm not sure what I'm doing with it. I don't know if I'm still continuing this YouTube thing or if it's just going to go on hiatus for a while, but I kind of am starting to feel like its importance for me is lessening because I've gotten a lot of stuff cleared from my space this way, and out of my energy. But then, of course, there's still life. I don't know. And then the other question is, if I get this back to my house and I go to put it on my computer, is it going to work then too? Or is it a problem with the computer? I don't know. But I know that between the computer and the camera, and I tend to be easily frustrated and walk away from things. So I guess that's the question too, is it something I'm supposed to continue, or is it something that's going on hiatus for a while? And if it's something I am supposed to continue, then it's going to be a matter of working through some of those weird spots where I'm where I would normally quit on things. I don't know. I feel like I've done several videos at this point, and they've done and served the purpose of what I needed them to do, which was give me a space to clear the air and get this stuff out of my system. And I have been doing that. But I don't know if I'm supposed to continue on that end or just go to focusing on the writing exclusively for a little while. And I've been doing quite a bit of writing, and like making connections and stuff, but not writing for creativity's sake necessarily. More writing to get stuff out of my system, and the stuff that's occurring to me and I'm processing in my head, that is kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, but oh, now I'm at 15% on my battery, so limited, obviously. So I had this dream back in 2020, actual dream, and my twin flame that I've mentioned many times has come up in it, or he came up in it, and it was after or around the time I think that we first had any kind of encounter on social media. Um, it was nothing big, just like I said something and he responded, and that was it. And at the time, as I've said many times, I did not know that he was my twin flame back then. That did not come up until the fall, 2023. So in the dream, like the first scene, I'm coming in from the dark and going into this building. It's kind of like a ski lodge is what it gave me the feel of, but it was just like a one-story place, and there's all these guys walking around, and they all seem connected to him somehow. But I wasn't really sure of any of those connections or even what this place was. I was mad in the dream at something my ex had been doing. Actually, I think it was the fact that 2 of my dogs were not with me in the dream, was what I was mad about. But we get inside and we're sitting on this couch, and it felt like basically he was a leech, my ex, on my energy, and he was not supposed to be there, but he was just like siphoning my energy from me. And my one dog was sitting on my lap, which was her normal place the entire time he and I were together, because she was my little protector. And with what I've learned, she's also she's also my source of grounding when I didn't have other things to do to ground myself. Okay, so this is really weird, but there's like this vulture that is flying just like over all these gravestones, and like I don't know if it's trying to land on something or what it's doing, but it's actually kind of cool to watch. The other day I was here, and it, we hear all like these rustling in the tree, and like this whole huge section of like branches and stuff started shaking as this thing lifted out of the tree and flew from one tree to another. And it's like I don't think I've ever seen one up close like that before, but it was really cool, and I wish I would have had like 5 more seconds notice so I could try to get my camera ready, because that was awesome. But anyway, in the dream, he was basically a leech siphoning off my energy, and he wasn't supposed to be there, and I was kind of wiped out and really mad because 2 of my dogs were not with me, but the other one was sitting on my lap. And so we're sitting on this couch, and there seems to be like a TV or something in front of the couch, and like I don't look at it at all. It's just I see the like flashing of the colors from like my peripheral view, and I was aware that twin flame guy that I didn't know at the time was sitting on a stool, and there were 3 other guys on stools behind the couch, and they were talking amongst themselves quietly like it was a funeral home or something, and seemed maybe mildly aware that I was there, but not completely. And then it moved to this other scene where I was like trying to get away from, there's Taz, trying to get away from my ex and just get some space, and I ended up bumping into another guy, and this one actually was able to look at me, make full eye contact, and like he had tears in his eyes and like he wanted to say something to me, but then I woke up before he could, so I never really knew what it was. But I've discovered that I can go back into this dream, and I've spent many times doing this. One time I went back into that conversation and finished the conversation, and I wrote about that on a blog, so I'm just going to leave that one there. But that was kind of an interesting experience. But then it was like the next time I went into it, my ex was still there and I was still really angry, but my twin flame was there, and he was, still more talking with the other guys behind the couch, but also checking in with me and basically seeing if I needed, like, he wouldn't look at me, or couldn't look at me, I think is more accurate, but like he was aware that I was there, and he was talking to me and basically asking me if I needed their help to get away from my ex or something, who was still sitting there next to me, siphoning off my energy. But as I've been like doing like the YouTube videos and like clearing up space, it feels like it's actually clearing up space so I can go back into the dream further. The next time I went into it, I mean, it wasn't, mind you, it's not like just each day this is happening. This is like over the course of a week, I'm realizing these little things, and then something shifts, and then there's something else big, and then there's other little things that I'm kind of noticing, and then there's another shift. But after the time he was talking to me but not looking at me, the next time it got to a point where it's like we were looking at each other, and it was like a dream, and everything was kind of foggy and clearing up, but yet we were locked, like our eyes were locked, and we were just kind of dreamily gazing at each other, if you will. But he was still more talking to the people that he was with, or that were behind me. And then last week it shifted again, which is kind of interesting. So I went from like this really dreamy feeling, and the next time, and I think I am going back into it to some degree when I'm asleep, and I hadn't really realized that was part of what I'm doing, but I think that's part of what I'm doing, because it's like I wake up and then I'm really aware of this thing that happened, like the dream or whatever. And so last week, I went back into it, and it was like like my ex wasn't even there anymore. It's like he's just like just poof, gone. I don't know. But it was like my twin was locked in on me, and it's like, like staring into my soul kind of a thing. It's kind of weird, and it's like, I wonder what this means in the real world, because I feel like something is happening, because obviously it's been, as I've started clearing up some space in my own system, it's making room for this other thing to be shifting and to have different things occur in the dream state or whatever. And then since he's like full locked in on me at this point, it's like the clouds are gone, it's just kind of staring into my soul, and it was very intense, but it made me wonder what's going on, obviously, and I think that's part of why the writing's going as well as it is too, because it's like, I was trying to figure out some of these details. Tell me more. What's going on? I mentioned it in my class the other night. I hadn't been in a while, and then I decided to go mainly because I wanted to share this really crazy thing that's been going on, and this shifting dream. And it was kind of funny because there were several people that were like, that means it's close. It's like, I feel like that means it's close. It's like, that's why I came, because I wanted to share this, and it was crazy. And that's like stuff I think I did tell my brother that yesterday. But my brother and I have always been really close, but, some of this stuff, it's like, I'm kind of hit and miss on telling him lately, more so because we haven't had a lot of time to actually sit and talk. But since I've been getting up early, and I got talked into going over and hanging out with this kid while she slept, and he took his wife to work. We actually had some time yesterday where I think I was over there for like 3 hours or so, just talking about all this stuff and catching him up with the weirdness that is my life. Yeah, and yes, I should check the percentage. I'm at 12%, so okay. So yeah, but it's just been kind of interesting, and I keep feeling like I keep seeing 6/18 and 6/19, and I'm wondering if like one of those is an important date, and it's usually more like 6/19, but the other one I have seen a bit also, so I don't know. But it's like, I feel like something soon. I just don't know what anything is, obviously. But I've also, I had this crazy idea at one point where I just threw it out there for the universe. It's like, you know what? I think it would be really cool if the day something like that happens, I saw my birthday, like actual birth date. Because I've never seen it anywhere obscure before. It's usually pertaining to me and my birth. But like see it on a license plate or something. So, I was, when I was going to get my piercings, or like all these bonus ear piercings. Hi, thank you. Puppy love. That weekend, Friday, I went on Sunday for the piercings. On Friday, my cousin asked me to go pick him up from the car collision place and take him to the car rental place because they sent the car to a wrong location and he couldn't get it from where he was. He was supposed to be able to walk to where it was. So I went and, since I wasn't doing anything, picked him up and took him over there. And on the way to pick him up, I saw 7981. Now my birthday is 7983. So I was like, well, that's interesting because that's the closest I've seen. And then the next day, I saw 7982, and it's like, oh, so this is like we're getting closer. It's like it's like progression or whatever. And so I am trying to I'm not sure that this lady is not going to pull and come park next right in front of me. Okay, she's going the other way. Okay, so on Saturday, I don't remember what I was doing. It might have actually even been something on, like my Amazon card or something was 7982, somewhere obscure. And then Sunday, which was the day I got the piercings, I was driving over there and happened to see this truck. I saw it, 7983. And I was like, ooh, did I actually see that? And I got all excited. And then my confirmation was, as soon as I pulled up to a stoplight, there's a building right in front of the stoplight, with the angle the road went. The building had a phone number, and the last the last four digits were 3897. So it's like my exact birthday, but in reverse. It's like, okay, well that means something too. Obviously, I kind of took it as confirmation at the time, but what ended up happening was I still had like another 20 minutes before I got to the piercing place, and I ended up, by the time I got there, I had so much anxiety that I was like, clearly I do not need the responsibility of knowing that something's going to happen the day it's going to happen. So we'll just scrap that whole idea, because I don't want to know anything. I want it to be a surprise, so I don't have time to psych myself out. So that's what happened that day. Although, I think I still got to see my birth date because it was an important part on the journey. And these I got with the intention that from here on out, it's like, this, whatever I do is full me. I'm not, hedging around who I am anymore, or trying to cater to other people's ideas of what is or isn't acceptable for me or whatever. So I think that was kind of an important thing too. Just like with the lip and the nose rings, I did those with the intention that I would never again work in a job that required me to be anything less than 100% who I am. So intention setting is very big. And I just saw 2626, which has been showing up a lot lately too. I have to look it up again as far as what it means, but just weird stuff's coming up anymore. I was listening to the song on repeat where the runtime was 3 minutes and 29 seconds, and like I'm just consumed with the song right now, so it's like nonstop, which is what I do when I get really into like a song for any reason. I can listen to I can binge the crap out of it for weeks. So far we're just at days. But yeah, so I was seeing 329, and then I started seeing it on addresses and in other places like that. It's like, okay. And then when I had something else where there's a little train of thought where I happened to think about it, and as I happened to think about it, I happened to look up, and there's a mailbox that says 329, and it's not the one I saw the day before that had 329 on it. And then I put my comforter in the washer this week and found out the laundry detergent had 329 on the cap. I was like, this is some weird shit. I did look that one up. I don't remember what it means, but I did look that one up. And the series of events that was going on, the first day that I really was noticing 329, so that was Tuesday. Tuesday was the second day I got up early, and it was the first day I went over and sat with my niece while my brother did his little running. And then I got these crystals from Etsy, this little Etsy shop, that I was thinking were actually in a bracelet. They were not in a bracelet, so I had to figure out what to do with them, because they were just on a string that did not have any bend or any flex to it. So it could not be used as a bracelet because it wouldn't have any stretch to be able to get it over my hand. And one of the ends was glued anyway, so it's like, that's not going to work, because there's not even enough end to have it be anything. So I was trying to figure out what to do with it. And I decided that I was going to make something else out of it. So I went to Hobby Lobby, as I think I've mentioned in another video, and got a bunch of these little charms and things, and decided I was going to make some earrings. And since tigers have been big in the past year, I found tigers, and I was like, I need tiger earrings, clearly. So I would have them in, but I was afraid that Gidget would start pawing my shoulder because we were late on our walk today. And when she gets real frustrated, she starts pulling at me from the back seat. And I didn't want her to snag my earrings, so I left them at home. But I made these little earrings. They have bronzite and citrine, and then the little tigers. And tigers are one of my totem animals that I talked about in another video that I haven't finished those because there were 3 animals that I mentioned that I didn't get to talk about because I just focused on the turtles for the one day. But anyway, before that, 6%. I should probably wrap this up. So I went to Hobby Lobby because I had a couple other things I realized I needed, and was mostly so I could make bracelets a bracelet with the rest of the stones that I had come off of these 2 things. And so I had the earrings. I was going after stuff to make the bracelet, and ended up spending like my aunt. I'm at crunch time, so I'm gonna actually see if I can start this car and charge it a little while I'm doing this before my phone dies, because that would be sad. There we go. So we'll just wrap it up. Anyway, so I'm at Hobby Lobby, and my phone's bright again, so we're at least going in the right direction. I get my... That's not good. Hold on. Okay, my car is making funny noises, so I'm going to have to get that looked at. But I'm not going to listen to the rattle while I'm trying to do this, and it's at least started enough to do this, or wrap this up, I think, while it's charging. Anyway, so I'm at Hobby Lobby, get the stuff. My aunt had paid me for watching her cat, and so I had money that I was going to take to the bank. Not a huge amount, a little bit, but I spent part of it at Hobby Lobby, obviously. So I spent $26 there, and so I go to the stoplight on my way to the bank, and there is a vet there with a sign. I just saw vet, couldn't see anything else on it. And I was like, you know what? I got these 3 ones that for my change, so I'll just go ahead and give that to him. And so I did. And there's 321 on the clock and 321 on my phone countdown or clock thing. So yeah, whatever. Anyway, so I went to the bank after I did that, and I pulled in next to, or like there's a drive that goes next to the bank parking lot, or I could pull into the bank parking lot. And I pulled into the drive next to it and just stayed on that and went around to the drive-through. And 2 cars had backed in on that side of the parking lot. And one of them, the first one I saw, was 987 on the license plate. The next one was 555 on the license plate. I pull around and go to the drive-through ATM, and as I stop, I look at the clock and it's 11:11. And then I tried depositing the money and it wasn't taking cash, so I decided I was going to go to the walk-up ATM. And so that was back on the other side of the building where the cars had been backed in. So I go over there, and as I'm parking or getting ready to pull in next to this other car that's next to these 2 cars that I mentioned with 333 on the clock, 444 was on the 3rd car's license plate. It's like, what the heck is going on? So I figured that was a sign that I'm moving in the right direction. I was like very strongly moving in the right direction and exactly where I'm supposed to be and in alignment and all these good things. And so that was just kind of this big thing that happened. And then there's the dream that has been changing, and that it was all intense the other day. You know, and I've actually made progress on changing my schedule around so I could be more productive in the mornings. And I am writing. I've said that. I am writing. It's still not the book thing. I have a couple of things that I want to do for the blog, but I still got to organize my thoughts into those. And there was one day, like, I had written all this stuff that I was going to do a video on, and then as I was, like, marking them so I could refer back to where they were, because I was just going to refer back from my journal that I've been keeping, yeah, the fourth of the Twin Flame journal series that I've been doing. Which is the thing too, because I have noticed that it's like, for all my big life experiences, it's like there's 3, and then there's finally moving in the right direction, one that works. Like I had relationship wise, there were 3 long relationships that did not go anywhere. I mean, but they were still like 4 to 7 years. Which, hey, those are 2 of my numbers anyway. Okay, my ex was more like 6.5, but long enough. And by the time the divorce went through, we were like 3 months away from 7, so it's just like whatever. I think. Anyway, could have used without that tangent. So yeah, I don't remember. You know, there's just a lot of positive momentum, I think, is what I was going for. And, you know, like with the thing with the video, like I was making these notes. Like I watched a tarot reading the other day, and like literally everything this girl was saying was Kino Tarot. It's like everything was accurate for me, and it's like, oh man. And so I took notes, or I like started it over and took notes for what was going on, and like it continued the entire, like it was like an hour-long reading. It's like, why is everything exactly meant for me? Yeah, so I made notes on that. I made notes on like a bunch of other things, and some of the cards that I had pulled that day, or this one day, that were all, I don't know, seemed to be connected specifically in this one direction. And then I was going to do a video, and then she was like, you know what? Maybe this is just the direction of the book. I don't know. Because it's all like stuff on like the spiritual side of things that I'm learning, that I feel like I'm meant to share. Anyway, since my phone's dying and my car's acting weird, I'm going to call it a day. And yeah, as always, I do appreciate you, whether you made it this far or not. And until the next time, I will see you later. Bye.